We tend to think that control looks like force. But nowadays, the most effective kind of control feels good. It doesn't punish, it pacifies, it has the power to sedate. And because it feels so much like comfort, we don't really question it as much as we should. What does resistance look like in a world like this? A world where control feels more like pleasure, entertainment, distraction. Today, we are going to explore the game of dopamine we live in, just to see what happens. To guide our conversation today, I invite you to dive with me into Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, a book written over 90 years ago that really helps me understand the world we live in today. In his book, there's an authoritarian government with full control and surveillance. But people don't rebel against it because they are too satisfied to care. In this dystopia, society is carefully engineered to avoid pain at all costs. Babies are designed in labs. Sexual freedom is highly encouraged, but emotional depth is forbidden. And anytime someone feels the discomfort of being human, the agony, they take soma, a government-issued drug that erases the edge of any emotion. Sadness, grief, boredom, poof, gone in a swallow, swept by a feeling of bliss and serenity. Huxley didn't write this as a fantasy. He wrote it as a warning, not of what would be done to us, but of what we'd be willing to do ourselves. In our world, we don't swallow soma. We tap it, we scroll, we binge it, we buy it. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter behind motivation, reward, anticipation. It used to help us survive. Now, it helps us obey. Because in a world where everything is optimized, gamified for attention, dopamine becomes the reward for staying carefully, obediently inside the system. Don't think, why are you thinking? Just refresh your feed, there's more content. Don't feel, why feel? You can just consume, it's easier. Don't question, no, why question? You can just enjoy, see, more content. But like soma, dopamine doesn't solve pain. It suppresses it. And the more we rely on it to feel okay, the less tolerance we have for being present with our feelings, our thoughts, and our lives. And I know, at a personal level, it feels harmless. Come on, just one more episode, one more tab open, one more scroll. But over time, dopamine addiction flattens our thoughts, our feelings, our opinions. We stop seeking meaning and settle for simple stimulation. We lose the depth that comes from doing hard things, from facing hard thoughts and feelings. Because the easy things are just always one click away. Let me just grab my phone, it's easier. We are not chasing joy. We are escaping discomfort constantly. And in that escape, we forget who we are when nothing is distracting us. Let's think of a society level. A population constantly rewarded for staying entertained is a population less likely to revolt, less likely to reflect even, and way less likely to demand any real change. When Huxley imagined Brave New World, he didn't fear censorship like Orwell, but we'll talk about it in a different video. He feared saturation, not that truth would be hidden from us, but drowned in a sea of noise. And he was right. In a world of infinite content, our attention is the most valued currency. And every second we are sedated by pleasure, we are not thinking, questioning, imagining, rebelling. We became obedient. And the worst part is, we became that not because someone told us to, but because it feels good, so good. So why wouldn't we? As Dr. Anna Lemke, the author of Dopamine Nation, puts it, we've transformed the world from a place of scarcity to one of overwhelming abundance. And the result is a new kind of suffering, the pain of too much. What happens to a society where pleasure is everywhere, but presence is rare? When the news hurts, we scroll past. When injustice knocks, we check our friends' stories, maybe post one and see who liked it. When life feels hollow, we shop for something online. This isn't individual apathy. This is a system very carefully designed. The more we're soothed, the less we act. And while fear once ruled through pain, the modern control rules through comfort. This is what philosopher Byung-Chul Han calls the burnout society, a world where we exploit ourselves in the name of pleasure all the time, always doing, always consuming, always being distracted, never truly resting, because rest requires silence, presence, discomfort. But we're more than that. A big part of being human is being a spirit, a soul, holding some kind of faith. But spirituality, real spirituality, asks us to sit in silence in order to feel connected, held, to face ourselves without any distraction, to let the questions, the reflections echo. But how are we supposed to access that when every gap is filled with the possibility of entertainment, of a dopamine hit? What happens when we don't remember how to be in silence, how to be bored? Mystics across many traditions, Buddhist, Christian, Sufi, have said the same thing. Stillness is the doorway to clarity, to expansion, to evolution of the self, to a true sense of meaning, purpose, connection, and peace. But dopamine slams the door shut, because when you numb discomfort, you numb the inside too. And suddenly, our soul feels far away because we stop listening to it. Okay, yes, I get it. Dopamine is bad. Socials are killing us. So, how am I supposed to live inside the system without being swallowed by it? I'll tell you, it's not by quitting pleasure, not by controlling your dopamine, your consumption, but by being aware, by noticing the loop. I want you to ask yourself, why am I opening this app again? What am I actually feeling underneath this? What would happen if instead of scrolling now, I just sit with that thought for 10 seconds? What if we set that rule that for the next few days, whenever you notice yourself just mindlessly scrolling or looking for distraction, you just sit for 10 seconds? I want you to be curious. I don't want you to be shameful. Curiosity is more powerful than control because it opens the door gently, without guilt. In Brave New World, there's a line from Huxley that gives me the chills. They don't have to keep us from rebelling. They just have to keep us comfortable. Today, the leash isn't fear, it's pleasure. And maybe the most radical thing we can do is feel something real. Be present with the emotions that come to us, with our thoughts, even if they feel deeply, deeply uncomfortable. Remember to stay curious and notice what you are living for, because the way you spend your hours, your days, is the way you spend your life. And if this video made you think, subscribe for more content like this every week or other week. Let's see.